When Ogilvy and Mather won the Maidenform account 2 years ago, the first advertising that we developed for them happened to coincide with the election. And in working with our client, we had decided that it would be wonderful that a brand that stands for women's self-esteem should go out and at this point in time really encourage women to vote. We did a campaign that was very much in the Maidenform style. We called it Vote, and it ran briefly prior to the election. And as we tried to move on from that, we realized we needed to know more about who this Maidenform consumer was for us to be able to actually do an effective long-term campaign.
If you've got something to say, now's the time to get it off your chest.
We thought it was important to do a reality check and do a broad-based national study to move even beyond the classic department stores, which was where Maidenform is primarily distributed, and understand a little bit more about who's buying lingerie and what motivates those purchases. We did what's called mall intercepts. We went into shopping malls. We went to 35 markets, interviewed more than 3,000 women looking for a particular profile, women that were between 18 and 65 years of age, that had bought 2 or more bras in the last year. We wanted to be sure that bra shopping was a recent shopping experience because we were going to ask her a lot of questions about where she shops, how she makes her purchase decisions, what she paid for it, and so we needed to be sure that they were actually moderate users in the category. Each interview lasted about 3/4 of an hour to an hour, so it was a very thorough discussion with these women who agreed to sit down and talk with us for a while.
Playtex.
About 2 months later, when we got the research back and sat in the meeting and listened to the results of what these women had to say in the shopping patterns, boy, did we have an eye-opener.
Then there's a huge chunk of people who are aware of Maidenform, they've heard of it, but never bought a Maidenform bra. And they look. We
discovered that we actually had more lapsed users than there were current users. They know the Maidenform name, but they don't really have much of a perception of it, that it was sort of neutral.
I wasn't wild about this, but I thought I handled it well as a client.
This simply amazes me. It simply doesn't hold water from any of the tracking studies. It's not just the last tracking
I think what was the most shocking for me was the image of Maidenform was a dowdier image. There were many women who simply did not know the Maidenform name, or if they knew it, they associated it with their mother's bras, and that was a very difficult thing for me to hear.
I really do not know. I can't think of enough reasons to explain this.
It was really pretty devastating because we have thought that Maidenform is a brand name that has fabulous attributes to it and wonderful brand image, and that we have been thought of so highly by so many people. And to hear that that may not be true to the degree that it seems not to be true, if the research holds up, it has to be terribly depressing.
What we've done is to filter the data and weight it to match the tracking studies.
We had a meeting about 2 weeks later, and the research company came in after evaluating it with the agency and basically said to us, what we told you from the beginning is exactly the story. And that's something we had to deal with.
We are not satisfying a need for variety.
I think when you are faced with such different insights than we had worked from in the past, I think it was very exciting for us, and I think it was a little bit scary.
The choice of either going ahead and proceeding with this as the best information we have, or simply not proceeding with it.
And if we can agree today on who the target audience is and then what the role of advertising is, then we can very quickly nail down the rest of the strategy. But we need agreement on those 2 points.
So the goal, first and foremost, for the company is to achieve profitable volume growth. Beware non-triers. They really represent the largest opportunity for long-term growth, but it's a group that we currently have no access to. As Maidenform expands distribution, what is it that we want the advertising to do? Well, generating trial is going to be advertising's most important role, we believe.
If the source of volume is aware non-triers and lapsed users, and if what we're going to be doing is going into the places that they shop, then trial and or retrial will be our primary goal.
I am concerned that we would say that that is the only role. I understand most important role.
One of the things that you're seeing going on here is wanting to say that the brand is very, very important and we've got to figure out how to utilize that, and also say that advertising can and should be playing a role in helping to drive volume. It's partly semantics, but it's also coming to real terms with what the goals are.
We have now moved from increasing the value of the Maidenform brand name to gaining trial. I was really concerned about a narrow focus of trial, because my job is to be the keeper of the flame of the brand, because products are commodities, brands are the bigger picture and your long-term future. But I have to filter all of these things in the sense of ramifications of other.
Well, our next step would be to come up with what is the unique role of advertising to help us meet those goals, who are we talking to, and we would do that, I hope, next week.
Great.
Okay.
There's hope.
There's
Exactly.
hope, right.
That's exactly the thing to
right,
take away
Marilyn.
from this.
The proposition that we've put together is Maidenform understands that a woman's lingerie is important insofar as it enhances and expresses her sense of style, and therefore her self-esteem.
There are some women for whom a bra is an end in itself. You know, she's thinking about how she's going to look in that bra. At the other end are women for whom a bra is only important in so much as how it makes them look in their clothes. Well, that was a very important insight, because when you look at the range of lingerie and bra advertising out there, mostly you have a bunch of women prancing around in their underwear. So we said, aha, here's something very important. We may make a product for your body, but we are a brand for your head. We understand confidence and self-esteem. So we thought that was a very, very important insight and decided to stake our future claim on that.
This is the bra that goes under the T-shirt that's worn by the woman who attends the meeting, where she speaks.
I believe that after all the numbers and after all the information, that there is the plain gut instinct and common sense and knowledge. And I hope that we always have the best of the research that gives us the direction, and then we have the common sense and the instinct that overlays that and makes it all come together right. And the trick to all of it is making sure you're asking the right questions.
I think you're onto something. I think it's an extraordinarily interesting way of going about it. I think this is very special.
This is the bra that goes under the sweater, which is worn by the woman who attends the school meeting, where she speaks her piece, which causes the vote that throws the bums out and makes way for a set of reforms so popular, the school is renamed in her honor. Maidenform, what's your lingerie doing for you?
In my career and for my own personal reel, the advertising that goes on there is advertising that I know was really very effective in selling products and building brands for tomorrow for the client. And in that definition, I think that this Maidenform campaign is great advertising.